5 prostate tests men over 70 should never get. Doctor's warning. Have you ever wondered if one medical test could quietly steal your health instead of protect it? I walked into the clinic feeling perfectly fine. 2 months later, I couldn't pee without pain. The cause, a PSA test I never truly needed. Doctors say it's routine, but after age 70, it may cause more harm than good. According to Harvard and the U.S. Preventive Services Task Force, routine PSA screening is not recommended for men over 70. Why? Because PSA levels naturally rise with age, even without cancer. And once that number's high, it triggers a chain reaction, fear more tests, and often unnecessary biopsies. These biopsies aren't harmless. They come with real risks, bleeding, infection, even loss of bladder control or sexual function. The worst part? Many men go through this while having no symptoms at all. They felt fine until the medical system told them they weren't. This isn't rare. It's happening to thousands of older men across America every year. That's why I'm sharing this today, to help you avoid what too many others didn't see coming. If you believe seniors deserve better guidance, not fear, please subscribe to this channel. Your support helps keep these important conversations going. Now, let me ask you this. Which do you believe is more dangerous? I.e. A. Not getting enough tests after 70. B. Getting unnecessary tests that cause complications. Comment your answer below, A or B. I read every response. Now let's look at the next test that may sound familiar, but could leave you more anxious than informed. Most men over 70 still believe the PSA test is a simple, necessary part of aging. We've been told for decades it's the best way to catch prostate cancer early, but very few were ever told about the silent risks that come after that blood draw. The truth is, PSA levels naturally rise as we age, even without cancer. A slightly elevated number can mean many things: an enlarged prostate, a minor infection, or just age itself. But the test doesn't say why it's high, it just flashes a number. And that number triggers a chain reaction. Doctors see it, worry about cancer, and often order a biopsy. But here's what they don't always say. Most prostate cancers found in older men are slow-growing. In many cases, they never cause symptoms, never spread, and never threaten life. But the side effects of reacting to that PSA number, those can be life-altering: bleeding, infection, chronic pain, loss of bladder or sexual function, and for what a cancer that may never have done any harm. I've seen older men spiral into a medical maze after one routine PSA test. One test turned into months of stress-invasive procedures, and in some cases, lasting damage, both physical and emotional. And still, few were ever told they could simply wait and monitor. That, for men over 70, watchful waiting is not neglect, it's wisdom. Even the U.S. Preventive Services Task Force recommends against routine PSA screening after 70 unless specific symptoms are present. So why is it still being done so casually? Because the medical system runs on caution and fear. But fear isn't a treatment plan, and silence isn't informed consent. If you're over 70, ask, will this test change my treatment or just increase my anxiety? If there's no clear benefit, it's okay to say no. You deserve real information, not blind protocols. And if you're feeling healthy, your focus shouldn't be chasing numbers, it should be preserving quality of life. Let's stop acting like more testing always means more protection. Sometimes it means more harm and less peace. We often assume that if a test has been done for decades, it must still be useful. That's how the digital rectal exam, or DRE, quietly lingered in the routine checkups of older men long after its clinical value began to fade. The idea is simple. A doctor inserts a gloved finger into the rectum to feel for irregularities in the prostate. It sounds direct, and for years it was considered a critical part of detecting early prostate issues. But in men over 70, especially those with no symptoms, the DRE offers very little meaningful information. Studies from Mayo Clinic and Harvard Health have shown that the DRE has low sensitivity and high subjectivity. In simpler terms, it often misses dangerous cancers and falsely flags harmless tissue. The result? More anxiety, more follow-up testing, and more procedures that may never have been necessary. And let's not ignore the emotional toll. Many older men feel uncomfortable, even humiliated by the exam, especially when it's done out of habit rather than true medical need. That discomfort isn't trivial. It can erode trust and, in some cases, discourage men from future care. More importantly, in this age group, prostate cancer is rarely detected through DRE alone. Without other symptoms such as difficulty urinating, pelvic pain, or blood in urine, the exam adds little diagnostic value. Yet it's still done often automatically during annual physicals or wellness visits. Here's the truth. Just because something is quick and familiar doesn't make it helpful. Medicine evolves, and after 70 we need fewer reflexes and more reason. If you're in this age group and your doctor recommends a DRE, it's perfectly fair to ask why. What are we looking for? What will we do differently depending on the result? If there's no clear answer, you may not need the exam at all. Getting older doesn't mean surrendering your voice in the exam room. It means using it more wisely. Your dignity, your comfort, and your clarity of care matter. Tests should serve your life, not the other way around. It usually starts with good intentions. A doctor recommends a prostate MRI or ultrasound just to be thorough. You feel fine, maybe even excellent for your age. But the suggestion sounds reasonable, so you agree. What harm could it do? What many older men don't realize is that advanced imaging without clear symptoms often does more to raise fear than provide clarity. MRIs and ultrasounds are powerful tools, but when used without specific warning signs like urinary problems, persistent pain, or abnormal blood work, they often detect something called an incidental finding. That's a fancy way of saying we saw something, but we don't really know what it means. And that's when the real journey begins. Now you're being referred to a specialist. You're getting second scans. You're sitting in waiting rooms wondering, what if it's cancer weeks go by, sometimes months? The anxiety builds. You're not sleeping as well. You're Googling things at night you never wanted to know. Then maybe you're told, it's probably nothing, but let's do a biopsy to be safe. And just like that, what started as a harmless check turns into a procedure with real risks, bleeding, infections, side effects that may never go away. Many older men have gone through this cycle for one reason: a scan that never needed to happen in the first place. Medical institutions like the American Urological Association recommend imaging only when there's a strong clinical reason, not out of routine. Especially in men over 70, where slow-growing abnormalities are common and often irrelevant to long-term health. Even financially, the impact can be heavy. A prostate MRI can cost anywhere from $600 to $3,000. And that's just the beginning if follow-up procedures are involved. So before agreeing to any imaging, just to be safe, ask what are we looking for? What will we do differently based on the result? If the answers aren't clear, the test may not be worth the cost physically, emotionally, or financially. Health isn't about chasing every possibility. After 70, it's about knowing when to pause, not panic. You deserve peace of mind, not a chain of tests that never needed to begin. In recent years, the PCA3 urine test has been marketed as the next breakthrough in prostate cancer detection. You might have heard of it in men's health packages or seen it offered at private clinics promising early genetic-level insight. But behind the slick marketing, the reality is far less certain and far more expensive than most men are told. The PCA3 test measures the presence of a gene associated with prostate cancer in your urine. Sounds impressive, right? But here's what they don't always tell you. It's not FDA approved as a primary screening tool, and many major institutions like the National Cancer Institute warn that it lacks the precision needed to guide treatment decisions, especially in men over 70. The danger lies in how it's being promoted. Instead of being used alongside other clear symptoms or risk factors, PCA3 is often sold as part of broad prostate screening panels, even for men who feel perfectly healthy. And the results. They often raise more questions than answers. A high-risk score might push you toward additional tests, MRIs, or even biopsies, all based on a gene marker that doesn't always correlate with aggressive cancer. And once you start down that path, it's hard to stop. I've met men who spent $600 or more on this test only to end up confused and anxious. The worst part? Some of them never needed any follow-up at all. After 70, medical care should be more personalized, not more pressured. Just because something is new doesn't mean it's better. And just because it's high-tech doesn't mean it's right for you. Before agreeing to any genetic or molecular testing like PCA3, ask, is this test going to change what we do next? What are the risks of acting or overreacting based on the result? If your doctor can't answer those clearly, it's okay to wait. Tests should give you peace of mind, not take it away. Being informed means knowing when to explore and when to step back. After all, the goal isn't just to live longer, it's to live wisely. A prostate biopsy isn't just another routine test. It's a medical procedure that comes with very real risks. Yet for many men over 70, it's being done reflexively, without clear justification, and often triggered by tests that were never necessary to begin with. By the time a man in his 70s gets to the point of biopsy, he may have already gone through weeks of stress, a slightly elevated PSA, maybe a suspicious scan, or a vague recommendation like, let's take a closer look. And once that idea is planted, it's hard to walk away. Fear takes over. You think, what if I ignore this and it's serious? But here's what too few men are told. Most prostate cancers found after age 70 are so slow-growing that they will never pose a threat. In many cases, they'll never need treatment at all. Meanwhile, the biopsy itself can introduce new problems, ones you may carry for the rest of your life. The procedure usually involves inserting a needle through the rectal wall or perineum to collect tissue samples. It sounds simple, but the risks are significant. Infection, including dangerous sepsis, bleeding in the rectum or urine, long-term urinary incontinence, erectile dysfunction. And these complications are more likely in older men whose bodies may not recover as easily from even minor trauma. I've seen too many seniors lose their independence, their confidence, even their relationships after a biopsy, they were never fully informed about. All because of a just-in-case mentality that prioritizes protocol over the person. It's time to change that conversation. If you've been advised to get a biopsy, don't be afraid to ask the hard questions. What are we expecting to find? If we find it, will we treat it? Will it improve my life or just complicate it? Choosing not to proceed isn't giving up, it's taking control. Especially after 70, your medical care should be about living well, not just detecting disease. And sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is say, not every path is worth going down. Your health decision should honor your dignity, not erode it. Ask, understand, and choose with clarity because some outcomes, once they happen, can't be undone. If there's one thing I hope you take from this video, it's this: after 70, your health isn't just about detecting problems, it's about choosing which battles are worth fighting. In a world where more tests are being pushed, more fear is being sold, and more decisions are being made without your full understanding, your power lies in asking one simple question. Is this truly necessary? Not every test means prevention. Not every diagnosis means action. And not every path labeled safe leads to peace. As we age, what matters most isn't just how long we live, it's how clearly, how calmly, and how independently we live each day. When we say no to unnecessary procedures, we're not being reckless. We're being wise. We're preserving our dignity, our strength, and our ability to choose what truly serves our life. That wisdom starts with understanding your options, asking hard questions, and not being afraid to pause before saying yes. It means knowing that your story, your body, and your values matter more than any protocol. So here's something you can do starting today. The next time you visit a doctor and a test is suggested, don't just say, okay. Say why, say what happens if I wait. Say, how will this change my care, or will it just change how I feel? Simple questions, but they could save you months of worry, thousands of dollars, or even irreversible harm. Your voice is your strongest defense, and your health, your real health, isn't found in a number. It's found in the peace you carry when you know you've made informed, thoughtful decisions. Let me ask you this. What matters more to you now, knowing every possible diagnosis, or protecting your peace of mind and quality of life? Share your answer in the comments. I'd truly love to hear your perspective. If you found value in this video, I hope you'll subscribe to the channel. It helps us grow and keep sharing content that respects your wisdom, your experience, and your right to age with confidence. And if you'd like to support this work, you're welcome to make a small donation. It means the world and helps us keep doing this for others just like you. Thank you for spending your time here. Stay strong, stay informed, and stay in charge of your life.